We continue to follow that breaking news out of Philadelphia this morning, where a plane carrying a pediatric patient and 5 others crashed in a fiery explosion last night. That child had just finished treatment in Philadelphia for a life-threatening condition and was being transported back home to Mexico. The patient and her mother were on board along with 4 crew members. All are unfortunately presumed dead. It is unclear this morning if there are any injuries on the ground, but we do know that plane crashed in a very busy area of Philly. Witnesses to that crash describe it as a chaotic scene. And looks like we don't have that right now, but a spokesperson for the flight operator said the flight planned to stop for refueling at the Springfield airport before continuing to its final destination of Tijuana. Well, this crash comes less than 48 hours after our own air tragedy here at home. This morning, we are seeing memorials popping up around the DMV honoring the 67 lives we lost Wednesday night. These crosses that you're looking at right now have been placed at Gravelly Point to honor some of those victims. This is the same area where first responders have been collecting debris from that collision. Gravelly Point is closed to the public for right now. We will, of course, let you know when that reopens. There are still so many questions after that American Airlines jet and a Black Hawk helicopter collided in midair and plunged into the Potomac River Wednesday night. The Potomac River, and we know from investigators that they are continuing their efforts into this investigation, still in the very early stages. Joining us to share some more insight about all of this is John Gagliano, a pilot and aviation expert. We appreciate you staying with us this morning.
Yeah, good morning. This is really tragic, both in Philadelphia and in DC, obviously. It's been a tough couple days for aviation.
Absolutely. Just kind of your reaction to seeing these 2 crashes back to back and in such a short period of time.
Well, it's very unusual, and we have the safest aviation system and national airspace system in the world. It's much safer than driving, much safer than driving. And just to see these 2, large events right next to each other is just stunning.
I want to get back to the crash back here at home, DCA. I know we are in the very early stages of this investigation. Recovery efforts are still underway too. But from your understanding of what you have learned so far from an aviation standpoint, what may have gone wrong here?
Yeah, there's a lot of questions still to be answered. A lot of things the NTSB is going to look at. Certainly, they're going to look at the cockpit voice recorders and the data. They're going to look at what the helicopter was doing. The Army helicopter, the communications within the cockpit of the helicopter, and their communications outside with air traffic control. There's an FAA order that says how air traffic control communications are supposed to go, the phrases they're supposed to use, the things that they're supposed to say, and when they say them. And so there's going to be some look at how the air traffic controller was communicating with the helicopter and other planes in the area to make sure that they met the standards.
Yeah, and we know that these investigations can take quite some time. Of course, we learned that the 2 black boxes you mentioned on the American Airlines flight, they have been recovered. We also know that the black box on the helicopter has been recovered as well. How crucial are these going to be to the investigation?
They're going to be the main points of focus, I think, because, again, it looks like there was confusion. It looks like there was confusion, and we have to figure out where the confusion began and make sure that that doesn't happen again, because we just, we can't tolerate events like this. It's unacceptable, as the Department of Transportation Secretary said.
Yeah, and we have seen certainly kind of surreal moments, right? An entire airport shut down for hours, something that we really don't see around here typically. The FAA has now closed some of the airspace around Reagan to most helicopter traffic for now. Your reaction to that happening?
Well, it makes sense. When something like this happens, you want to just really pull back and take a look at what's going on and make sure that you're not pressing forward and doing something that's going to result in another accident. So we know that there was a helicopter and a plane involved. So if you take one of those things out of the equation, it makes sense that we're going to set pause on what's going on and take a hard look at what happened here and what may have created the confusion.
Yeah, and before we let you go, I know the NTSB now has two major investigations on their hands. It is a fairly small organization. Talk about the impact that this could have as far as the timeline is concerned on these investigations.
Well, the investigations normally take a while anyway. The NTSB is a small organization. It's going to strain their resources, and I would expect it's going to be years, certainly more than 1 year, before we get a final report and public docket items from the NTSB that show exactly what happened in their investigation. We can expect a preliminary report from the NTSB probably within a month or two, but a final report is going to take much longer.
Yeah, still so many questions that need answers. We really appreciate your insight this morning. John, thank you so much.